Bobby Rafferty is on a tear. 3 straight wins now for the Jim Beaver Esports driver in his pursuit of the Season 4 Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Championship. But in order to claim that, he's going to have to pry it away from points leader Steven Spees with just 3 races to go. Now BRL heads to Indiana to see who can conquer the baddest bull ring in the nation. Glad to have you along for the ride live tonight on the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm Devin Henry alongside Sam Ryman, and behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. We are down in Kokomo, Indiana for Indiana's baddest bull ring to take on BRL in the Dirt Street Stocks. Let's dive a little bit deeper into what kind of fun this quarter-mile dirt oval has in store for these drivers.
Welcome to Kokomo, Indiana. Unlike the Beach Boys Kokomo, this Kokomo is real, and automotive giants like Chrysler, Fiat, and Delphi have a big presence here. And fittingly, it is Indiana after all, we got a dirt track. This quarter-mile facility has been here since 1947 and over the years has hosted all the greats of the American Midwest. The Andrettis, Voigts, Unsers, Kinzers, they've all made trips to this town of nearly 60,000. ARCA even ran some races here in the 50s, but nowadays this track is home to mostly open-wheel midgets and sprints, with the occasional modified super late model or street stock turning laps. The track we know of today came into being in 2004, when essentially they started over. They knocked the place down, widened it, added a little bit of banking from its previously flat configuration, and added more walls. Its quarter-mile length but sharper paper-like clipped corners, well, they really add an interesting dynamic compared to the sweeping corners at most dirt tracks. That gives you a chance to build up some speed here on these straightaways, but that corner comes up awfully fast. As the race wears on here, it'll be a challenge to keep it in the wet and get that traction down when you hammer home the throttle for those longer straightaways. Have a line picked out and get ready for that sharp corner. Things can happen very fast here too on corner entry, and if they do, you might not hit much that's soft. The only truly straight part of the track is the front straightaway. That back straightaway takes more of a D shape, so be mindful of that if you're riding a cushion. So strap in and get ready for some dirt track action here at Kokomo Speedway.
Well, Sam, a lot of fun stored in this little quarter-mile track up here in Indiana. Tell me a little bit about what you think about this track. What did you see when you were driving on here?
Well, I did a couple of laps and then I guess I just got lost. Turns it says 0 degrees. I don't think we need the degree sign there. It's in fact, I don't even think that's number 0. That's just a picture of a racetrack there. It's a giant circle almost. It kind of reminds me, for people who have done asphalt oval racing, kind of reminds me of a dirt version of Oxford. You know, it's almost like one continuous turn, just a quarter mile around here, and a lot of cars, so there's going to be dirt all over the place. It's going to get kicked up. It's probably going to get kicked up into our director's face. I think our director will need a shower at the end of this.
He very well might have to, because a lot of things happen here at Kokomo. We're excited about a full field here tonight for BRL, and of course we have to thank those who helped put this race on for us to broadcast to you guys here on GSRC, and that includes the Cruise Shop. The Cruise Shop has been in operation since 1986. They are a team of highly experienced travel agents that have a huge passion for travel, specializing cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney and family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. They would love the opportunity to help you plan your next vacation. Be sure to give them a call today at 260-755-6125 or visit thecruiseshopfw.com. The Cruise Shop is dedicated to fulfilling their clients' dreams one destination at a time. And Jim Beaver Esports. Tonight's heat races are brought to you by Jim Beaver Esports, the official esports team of Jim Beaver, and the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Follow the team at JimBeaverEsports.com or on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to keep up with their drivers in iRacing World Championships, private leagues like the Bootleg Racing League, and plenty more. And if you're interested in advertising with GSRC, you will be happy to reach our channel's 1 million monthly global impressions, and they are a great way to get your branding seen by a diverse audience. Follow the link in the description below on YouTube, or just visit globalsimracingchannel.com/advertising. And I mentioned earlier on at the top of the show, this championship is really starting to heat up. Bobby Rafferty, 3 straight wins, trying to catch up to Steven Spies and take away this championship, Sam.
Yeah, and both of them up towards the top side of the timing and scoring in practice right now, which you can find at gsrc.tv. But here you go, a look at the points. This is before drop weeks have been counted. This league is running drop weeks, and we'll start to talk about those as we get closer towards the end of the championship at Charlotte in a couple of weeks' time. But there you see about 28 points, well, exactly 28 points is all Spies has over Rafferty. And once drop weeks come into the equation, that's probably going to benefit Rafferty, because you take, you know, that his no start, he had a no-show earlier this season out of the equation. You take his 5th place finish out of the equation, he's pretty much finished in first or very close to first every week since then, and that's going to be hard to top. So I think Spies really needs to get on his game here tonight. It's been a long time since he's taken a race win, and I think he's very well aware that if he wants to hold on to this points lead, he needs to start getting to the winner's circle.
Bobby Rafferty, an average finish of 2nd place in this season, of course has that one no-show, but Steven Spies does have his own victory to his credit, averaging a starting position 6 or better and averaging a finish of 4th place so far this year. And just like Sam said, you can follow everyone on track at gsrc.tv for live timing and scoring, just like we have up here in the booth. Well, Sam, before we get rolling here, about 2 minutes left here in practice. Tell us a little bit more about what we are going to see tonight out of BRL.
Well, just like every round in this series, it's going to contain heat races, a consi, and a feature, a 40-lap feature at the end of it. This is round number 9 of 11, so as I mentioned, we are closing in on the end of this championship. The dirt street stock car with fixed setup, so everyone's essentially racing the same car, and it's going to be how do you drive it that makes a difference. 20 cars make the feature, so if we had more than 20 drivers showed up, we would eliminate some through the heat races, through the consi. The good news is we don't quite have 20 cars, but we still have a nice full field for the 2nd week in a row here, Devon. 17 cars, I believe, currently connected to the session, actually an 18th just joined.
18 cars, everyone will make the A feature event if we stay under 20, but only 3 drivers will advance through the heat races. Drivers will still have to run in the consolation race, and we'll talk more about that as the night goes on. And you mentioned about one faster pair, fixed setup. So yeah, these drivers all start with the same race car, but usually it doesn't look like they all finish with the same car. But these street stocks can really take a beating. They weigh 1.5 tons, about the same as a tank, only 425 horsepower. It almost feels sluggish sometimes coming through the corners here, and really momentum in the corners at Kokomo play a really key factor in how quickly you get around here and get around other cars.
What really strikes me about this track, Devon, is how wide it is. I mean, look, we've got our cameras right now set up on the outside wall, and you almost need binoculars to tell who's down on the inside as they're going through the corners. So I hope the virtual spotters have been doing some practice themselves, and well, they're going to need to make sure they're on top of everything and everyone knows what line they want to run, because in 10 seconds we are going to be advancing to qualifying. And even though qualifying well means you start at the back for your heat races because of the way the invert works, you still want to do well in qualifying to try and pick up a bonus point or 2.
Justin Moore climbing the fence there to conclude practice session for today. 18 cars entered. The newcomer this season, Chris Davis, leading the board, followed by John Hein and Bobby Rafferty coming off of his 3 straight victories. And as we head into qualifying here, Bobby Rafferty, one of the first drivers onto the track. And something that you're going to see here in qualifying is going to be a really wide arcing corner to get themselves set up and just hit the apex of the corner really well in the very center. But of course, here in Bootleg Racing League, 4 qualifying laps, so pretty forgiving. You can really kind of test and tune how you want your lap to feel.
I don't know what apex and center you're talking about. I almost feel like that idiot who goes into an igloo and you tell him to sit in the center. I can't find it. But you mentioned new driver of a new season, Chris Davis. I think we have had a new driver every single week join this league during this season. It's definitely been hectic to keep up with during my notes. But that trend continues for today's race. Daniel Vaught in the number 90 making his first start of the season.
I'd like to welcome Vaught to tonight's race. And Chris Davis has been running extremely well, especially in the past few races, averaging a finish just outside of the top 5 every single race. He has been a very talented newcomer to this series and trying to prove again here just how good he can drive, and Kokomo is a good place to try to showcase that talent.
Yeah, I mean, he finished outside the top 10 at Lernerville, got an 11th place there. I think he was involved in an incident, but other than that, as you mentioned, his worst finish has been 6th. It's a shame he hasn't been here for the whole season, or else he could be up there fighting up there with the top contenders in the points. Right now, Bobby Hayes, our fastest qualifier, at 15.123. We have seen Hayes earlier this season. He hasn't exactly been the most regular driver out there, but we've seen him at Fairville and the Limaland. Didn't have great finishing results, but looks like this track might be suiting him a bit better.
Taking a look at J.R. Shepard, last season's winner here at Kokomo. Started on the pole and went wire to wire, leading all 40 laps to claim his first Dirt Street Stock Series win of this new Dirt Street Stock Series. BRL did a Dirt Street Stock group, I think it was a couple years ago, and JR won a single race in that series and then won last season here. So 2 Dirt Street Stock wins, and the last thing you want to see J.R. Shepard do in this series is win, because that's all he ever does in the Saturday night races that we also have here on GSRC.
Well, J.R. Shepard has been quite consistent this season. He's made every race but one and finished in the top 10. The problem is his best finish has been 3rd. He got that at Lernerville, and he's only had a couple of a top 5 to show from that. So hopefully, you know, the fact that we're back here at a track he won last season will give him a bit of extra motivation, a bit of extra speed. Right now he's 5th fastest in qualifying, but only about a 10th and a half off of the fastest time.
Huge shout out to Justin Morton actually taking the real track turnoff there, going into turn number 1. Taking a look now at Kenny Kibby, currently 8th on the qualifying board, trying to improve upon a 15.404. And you see there, he tried the apex there and just went a little bit too low. And the apex that I am referring to, Sam, is just the tire in the center of the corner. You try to hit that best you can without hitting that. But yeah, that's the only real way to know where in the world an apex is on these really wide sweeping corners.
Yes, sometimes on iRacing, I load up test sessions and I just drive around the racetrack at 10 miles an hour, try and park the car on the straight, saying, okay, what am I actually looking for in this corner? I think that's what I need to do with this racetrack. So Bobby Hayes, even though he's the fastest qualifier, he didn't do all 4 of his laps. He just did a couple of his laps, and now he's gone back out there to finish his run. Well, he already has the fastest time. He's probably not going to get beat, but I guess he just wants to get the feel of a track heading into the heat races, because the way things stand right now, he will be in heat race number 1.
A really great qualifying effort there by the 13 car, Bobby Hayes, and no one left to try to knock off that cruise shot machine. Final 10 seconds, and now I think he's just taking some qualifying victory laps, if you will. Your pole sitter tonight, if he wins heat race number 1, or at least the fastest qualifier tonight, it's Bobby Hayes in the 13 machine for our 18 car field. And now the track resets, Sam. We're going to go see us some racing here for first of a few heat races. 6 cars in our heat races. Top 3 move on to tonight's A main. The bottom 3 still have to go and participate in tonight's Consi race. Taking a look at your starting grid, starting first in the red, white, and blue, number 93 is Spencer Gray. Outside of him in the gray and yellow, number 2 is John Wilson. Starting inside row number 2, the Air Force veteran Robbie Robinson in the white and black, number 56. Daniel Vaught will start in 4th outside of him. Final row, Justin Morton in the number 9 machine starts off in 5th, and your quick time, number 13, Bobby Hayes, rounds out your 6-car field for tonight's heat race number 1 for Jim Beaver Esports.
I think 18 cars is the perfect amount for these Jim Beaver Esports heat races, because that splits the field up perfectly into 3 races full of 6 cars, and so we're going to have plenty of action in each of these heat race events.
All of our heat races tonight brought to you by Jim Beaver Esports here tonight at Kokomo. We'll start things off with these 6 drivers in Jim Beaver Esports heat race number 1. We are underway in Kokomo, Indiana.
So Spencer Gray elects to start on the inside. He could have chose either lane, and John Wilson is holding strong on his outside. In fact, it looks very much the same as what it did at the start of the race, except now the number 9 of Justin Morton is starting to make a move down low. So Spencer Gray's lost the lead to Wilson, losing even more, but it's the number 9 of Morton I'm keeping my eye on.
Justin Morton really running the best preferred lane. You can see that left front tire nearly hitting the tractor tire, and a new leader, Justin Morton, takes P1 away with the fastest lap of the race, and he is gapping the rest of the field right now.
Surprisingly, Bobby Hayes is still there in last place. Despite having the fastest qualifying time, he's not exactly charging through the field right now.
Remember, the way that the A main is set up, since we have 4 heat races tonight, the winner of heat race number 1 will start on the pole. Second place will start in 5th place, so you move back 4 spots, and you move further and further through the field. Your top 3 advance directly to tonight's A main. The other 3 drivers go to the consolation event tonight. Coming back on down to the line, 5 down, 3 laps to go for Justin Morton, Wilson, and Robinson, currently your last 2 transfer spots.
Yeah, things looking pretty handy right now for the top 3. The battles for 4th place, and see who comes out on top of that. And once that battle's resolved, maybe Gray and Vaught can start trying to run down Robinson for 3rd, but I don't know. It's looking like Robinson might be safe there in that 3rd spot, which will get him 7th on the actual starting grid.
Battle for 5th position, Vaught on the outside, Hayes, your fast qualifier, on the inside. Coming off of turn 4 for the final time, Justin Morton will take Jim Beaver Esports heat race number 1. He will be your pole sitter tonight in the A feature event. John Wilson finishes in 2nd. Robbie Robinson, your final transfer spot. Spencer Gray, Bobby Hayes, and Daniel Vaught all head to tonight's consolation race. So Sam, what did you see there in heat race number 1 that some of these guys in heat race number 2 should have been taking notes on?
Well, I was surprised that it was that difficult for Hayes to work his way up through the field. He started on the outside, of course, and by the time he got down low, things had kind of calmed down, whereas Morton committed to the low line straight away from 5th on the grid and ended up getting to the top spot very quickly and ended up taking a win. And for Morton, he doesn't always do that well in qualifying, but he normally brings it out in heat races, and this will be his first pole position of the season.
Now your starting lineup for Jim Beaver Esports heat race number 2. Angela Taylor will start on pole. Looks like she selected the outside lane. Tyler File will start in 2nd. Inside row number 2 is the 07 machine of Chris Davis. Kenny Kibby on the outside of him in the orange number 14. Final row, J.R. Shepard in the gray and green number 98 starts in 5th. And John Hein, with his 2 wins this season, tags the tail of the field as your fastest qualifier in this group. Ready for heat race number 2 for Jim Beaver Esports. Off of turn 4, Taylor brings him to the green, and we are underway for Jim Beaver Esports heat race number 2.
I think Taylor got on the gas in the middle of a corner and the car just kind of slid up, and now the number 07 to the inside there, banning fenders going down into turn 3. Chris Davis trying to make that low line work, but as they beat and ban, that's just allowing some cars to challenge him on the outside. File led the lap 1.
Davis, though, on the inside in the 07 takes the lead, 3 wide behind them for 4th. John Hein trying to make room on the inside to get his way up into a transfer spot. He's only in 5th, though, now. Davis leads File and Shepard side by side behind him. Kibby, Hein, and Taylor right now all on the outside looking in.
Yes, and Taylor's dropped back, but once again, similar to what I was saying we kind of saw in the first heat race, it seems the drivers who started down low are able to get up high. Davis started 3rd as in 1st. Rodrigo Shepard started 5th as in 2nd. Oh boy, that was almost a big incident there for 3rd place. But those drivers starting on the inside are quickly able to make up positions, and then they're hard to pass as the field kind of starts to thin out a bit.
On board here with J.R. Shepard, just ran the fastest lap of this heat race. You see how sideways Davis gets. Shepard catches up a little bit, but that straightaway speed for Davis just a little bit too quick. You see how Shepard kind of aiming for that inside tractor tire to get the optimum inside lane. And as you mentioned earlier, Sam, it's almost like you never really stopped turning here 2 laps ago this time.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if all the drivers have tired arms at the end of our 40-lap feature event at the end of the night. Only a couple more laps left to go, and we've got the battle for 3rd place there, the final transfer position. This is between File and Hein, and Hein's got that inside. He might be able to pull this one off.
Final spot in the A main, the crew shot machine of John Hein takes it. Coming to the checkered flag, Chris Davis wins Jim Beaver Esports Heat Race number 2. J.R. Shepard in 2nd. And it looks like Tyler File, or no, excuse me, timing and scoring just updating. John Hein, the final transfer spot. File, Kibby, and Taylor all move to the consolation race. And now time for tonight's final Jim Beaver Esports Heat Race. Your starting grid, Kobe Castleman in the 86 starts on pole. Todd Liston in the red, white, and blue 87 starts in 2nd. Ron Snyder in the 29 machine starts inside of row number 2. The black and green 81 of Joe Segala starts in 4th. And your final row, it's the top 2 in points. Bobby Rafferty starts in 5th. Steven Spees starts in 6th. And yes, points are awarded here in the heat race. So these two are going to be having a fight here for that number 1 spot to try to get the most points on the other driver tonight.
I like patterns, so I'm going to say Ron Snyder is going to do well in this heat race.
I like his odds right now, starting in 3rd. The 3rd place starter has done pretty dang well here in the last 2 heat races, but watch out for Bobby Rafferty. He's on the inside lane too, and Steven Spees will likely have to try to dive bomb to the bottom here pretty quickly. Final heat race here at Kokomo before we head to the consolation races. Castleman leads him to the corner, and we are green for Jim Beaver Esports Heat Race number 3.
Now that was intelligent there, what Castleman did. Taylor, already having Snyder take a look to the inside. Taylor got on the gas in the middle of the turn coming to the green at the start of a 2nd heat race, as these drivers already getting tight for the battle for the lead. Castleman waited until they run the straight, and talking about the straight, that's where they're all beating and banning for 3rd place right now, as up front it's Snyder going to the lead.
Nearly 4 wide for the final transfer position, watching from the blimp up above Kokomo. Segala trying to split the middle, and he spins out after contact with Todd Liston. He is out of the fight. But back up front, Ron Snyder leads the way. Steven Spees has moved into 2nd. Castleman hanging on to the last transfer spot, but Bobby Rafferty trying to take it away off of turn 4.
You know what I like if Snyder pulls this off is that he will also get to start in 3rd place for the feature event. So, you know, if that is the best place to start, well, he gets it twice in a row.
Steven Spees, the crew shot number 55, will certainly be trying to hunt him down, though. Halfway through heat race number 3, Rafferty and Spees battling for the 2nd position. Points are awarded, and these two in a tight championship battle as behind them, Liston and Castleman getting together, and that will basically ruin their chances at getting into the A main here through the heat race if these guys up front don't make a mistake.
Yeah, this could get intense actually in the final 2 laps here, because I think, as you mentioned, that Speeds does want to win this race to kind of keep his, help his championship fight out a little bit more by qualifying towards the front. And Bobby Rafferty there is his championship rival sitting in 3rd place right now. He's going to be trying to stop him. Last lap.
On board, Steven Speeds tries to arc it in a little bit lower than Ron Snyder. Does not get the drive off the corner. Snyder goes inside to protect the bottom. Rafferty throws in one last time, but how they stand is how they finish. Ron Snyder wins Jim Beaver Esports Heat Race number 3. Steven Speeds and Bobby Rafferty going to the A main along with them. Todd Liston, Cody Castleman, and Joe Segala. A quick turnaround here for the Constellation, about to grid up. But first of all, Sam, you saw those first 3 heat races. What's the key to gain the best finishing position here in the Constellation race?
Starting 3rd. So congratulations, Todd Liston.
Yeah, Todd Liston, kind of like his odds there, starting in 3rd place. Drivers starting 3rd have done pretty well for themselves here. Taking a look at your starting lineup, Spencer Gray in the 93 will start up front. Opposite of him on the outside, the 39 of Tyler File in 2nd. Todd Liston will start, as you mentioned, in 3rd once he takes the grid in the 87 machine. Bobby Hayes starts in 4th in the 13. Kenny Kibby, see right in front of this machine here, will start in 5th. Kobe Castleman will start 6th in the black, number 86. You're on board right now with Daniel Vaught starting inside of row 8 in the blue, number 90. Angela Taylor will start outside of him in the number 38 machine. And Joe Segala rounds out your 9-car field for the Constellation race. Where they finish is where they will start in the A main from 10th on back.
Yeah, so what I was trying to get at the start of heat race number 3 is that when Taylor was on pole for heat race 2, they went in the center of a corner and the car just slid up and they weren't able to get a good jump over the rest of the field. Whereas the pole sitter for heat race 3 was Cody Castleman. He waited until the straight and then hit the loud pedal and was able to get a better start. It will be interesting seeing what Gray does.
Gray selects the inside, brings him to the line. The crew shop Consi is underway. Final spots in the A main to be decided on where you start. For 3rd place, Todd Liston moving up the track a little bit, and he's already under attack from Kenny Kibby.
Yeah, they're all fanning out there, so good start by Gray. Got File to his outside still, but as you mentioned, they're all fanning out. 3rd, 3 wide for 3rd place right now. Let's see which driver comes out on top here. It looks like it will be Kibby, although it's still side by side as they head off into corner 3 once again.
And you can see the track changing, marbles moving around on the track, and the drivers moving up on the track. The more laps that get ran here on the dirt, the slicker that dirt becomes, and there's less grip there. So some drivers moving off the bottom because it's just a little bit too difficult to keep that car straight enough to keep momentum going forward because of that lack of grip.
Yeah, I'm noticing even now race leader Spencer Gray starting to move up the racetrack a little bit. He's unchallenged for the 1st position right now, but as you mentioned, the track definitely starting to change and it will continue to do so. Dirt getting kicked up, making our director smell a little bit, to be honest.
Yes, I have to agree with you there. Kenny Kibby now still trying to fend off Tyler Fail on board here with your leader Spencer Gray, Kibby trying to run that inside. File really trying to make that outside line work, but has now lost 3rd to Todd Liston.
Oh,
Liston
comes
throws
in
it
contact.
in. Still throwing it in.
Oh, it continues. File gets involved and they're still making contact through turns 1 and 2. This wreck has been going on for half a lap and allows Gray to pull away.
Not hard to do on a quarter mile. It looked like Spencer Gray just lost a little bit of that rear end and slid a little bit in the center of the corner. And at that exact same moment in time, Liston flew right into the center of the corner. Now Kibby making the move for 3rd to put him into the top 3 now.
So yeah, the top 3 are actually in the order that they started. The battle is for 4th place right now with, no they're not. Kibby has moved up into 3rd from 5th on the grid. So the battle is for 4th right now between Liston and Vaught, working his way up from 7th starting position.
9 down, 3 to go. Liston way outside, squeezes up right next to that wall, trying to get back around Daniel Vaught, who just ran the fastest lap of the Constellation race. on board here with Liston. See that large amount of cars in front of him, and they're all going to start in front of him in the A feature event if he doesn't find a way to get back by them.
Of course, the downside to winning this Consi race is you start the feature on the outside, but right now you also get some points if you win the Consi race, which I'm sure Spencer Gray would like. And can he hold on to it as the final lap? And Tyler File has gotten to his inside. Here we go.
Door-to-door, File slides a little bit on entry. Gray pushes in the center. Door-to-door off of 4. Banging bars, and Tyler File gets the consolation victory on the final lap with that pass. Spencer Gray will have to settle for second. Kenny Kibby brings it home third. Vaught in fourth, followed by Liston, Hayes, Castleman, Segala, and Angela Taylor. Ooh, a little bit of excitement there in that final consolation race as these drivers now come out to warm up one more time before the A main.
Yeah, I think if hopefully we could see our feature race end like that. You also notice as time advances into the warm-up session here that it's starting to get dark on the racetrack. So you talk about the track going through changes. Well, the fact that we're advancing the weather into night time, pretty much 8:30 p.m. virtual standard time, as I like to call it, that's just going to accelerate those changes.
If you heard me, excuse my onomatopoeia there, 14-mile-an-hour wind gust right now at Kokomo. I don't think that's going to make a huge difference on these tank-sized street stocks, but still, that is some really high wind velocity right now in Kokomo, in the virtual Kokomo, Indiana. John Hein right now top of the practice board in Kokomo. This quarter-mile dirt oval opened back in 1947. And the track was leveled in 2004 to create the masterpiece that we now see today on iRacing. For those of you guys, even if you don't know dirt, you might know the BC39. It typically runs the weekend of the Indianapolis 500. Unfortunately, not this year, but the past couple of years, they have built a temporary dirt track in the middle of Indianapolis Motor Speedway and had some midget cars just go to town over there. That track is actually modeled based off of Kokomo Speedway that we have right here. And so Kokomo has made itself a phenomenal name in the racing world and is honestly one of the most exciting tracks to watch in the United States.
Yeah, surprising as it is to hear me talk in my British accent, I was relatively inexperienced with dirt racing courses, especially before we started covering bootleg. And there are definitely circuits that have stuck with me a bit more than others, and I think this definitely goes down as one of those. Just how wide it is, and it's certainly one of the more unique courses that we have out here, Devon. And just from hearing a couple of stories you've been telling us about it, I'm really looking forward to tonight's race. We've had some very entertaining heat races. We have a large field here. We have a championship heating up with just 3 rounds left to go. And we have 40 laps to settle the scores. Not a single... no, I take that back. We have had one race go caution-free now, haven't we? I think we had that last week.
Yes.
But most of the races, we do normally end up having a late caution, mix things up, provide a bit of excitement coming down to the checkered flag. So that could happen again. But these drivers, for the most part, do race cleanly. And when I say cleanly, I mean they don't wreck each other. There's always some beaten up fenders at the end of these things.
Absolutely. It doesn't look like a real dirt street stock if these fenders aren't beating the heck out of, and these cars certainly will take a beating. Even at a place like Kokomo, we're not necessarily bouncing it off the wall as much as, say, an Eldora type of track, but nonetheless, these drivers, very respectable. They drive very well together, but very competitive, very talented, so they will gun at each other very often, if you will, and sometimes some feelings do get hurt, but that's what happens when you have this high of competition all racing against each other.
I happen to notice, looking in the corners here, we're riding on board speeds. Our viewers should easily be able to see it. The top side is slicked off there, and the bottom line as well, but there's a lot of moisture, unused dirt in the middle. Are we going to start seeing drivers race there, Devon?
And that's where I'm excited to see, because I've told you guys, I've never seen a good race at Kokomo when I watch online at the real-life track. They're always great races, or they're better than great. Never seen just a good race at Kokomo. But last season here with the Bootleg Racing League, only had about 11 or 12 cars start the A main, so the track didn't really evolve over the course of the A main. Tonight, the track state will begin at 15% usage, and it will continue to climb naturally from there. And with 18 cars on the track, I think that we're going to see this place evolve enough where you have drivers on the inside, then move to the outside on the wall like we see some of these drivers do, and we might see some guys run on those marbles in the middle. The only issue is it's a much longer way around than the inside, and you don't get the momentum you get on the outside. It's almost no man's land, or it's where you got to go to make a slide job pass.
And there we go. The clock ticks down to 0 and resets for an extra 5 seconds because it does that on iRacing. I've never quite figured out why. But now finally warm-up is over and it is time to go racing.
It's time to meet tonight's starting lineup here for the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Series at Kokomo. Starting on the pole, the 9 machine of Justin Morton. And outside of him, the 07 of Chris Davis. Ron Snyder starts in 3rd. He sure likes that spot in the 29 machine. John Wilson in the 2 car starts in 4th. J.R. Shepard looking to go back-to-back at Kokomo. He's in the number 98 car starting 5th. Steven Spees, your points leader, starts in 6th in the number 55. The Air Force vet, Robbie Robinson, starts inside of row number 4. John Hein on the outside of him in the 71. Bobby Rafferty trying to claw his way to the points lead, looking for 5 straight victories. He starts in 9th. Tyler File starts outside of him in the 39 car in 10th.
By less than 1/10 of a second, he was pushed back to 10th there. Starting 11th is Spencer Gray in 11th position. Let's start all that again. Spencer Gray was less than 1/10 of a second from starting in 10th place for this race. Kenny Kibby will start 12th position. Daniel Vaught starts 13th, and behind him is Todd Liston. Bobby Hayes and Cody Castleman on row number 8, and Joe Segala and Angela Taylor rounding out the field. Justin Morton has elected to go to that high side, so all of a sudden in the heat races, we kept mentioning how the low side was where you want to be. Not anymore.
Morton on the outside, Davis on the inside, bringing the field to the green flag, and we are underway at Kokomo.
Great launch by Morton. He is running all the way up towards that wall, something we haven't seen all night long so far. Even though we have the rest of the field trying to use that low side, Chris Davis trying to make the most of it, and things getting tight for 3rd and back. In fact, we have a whole lot of cars going into turn 1. Somehow they keep from wrecking.
Speed, Shepard, and Snyder all running a huge quad on the inside of the back straightaway, and they all lose a chunk of positions. And the battle to watch now is Bobby Rafferty and Steven Spees as the yellow flag comes out here. It looks like there were troubles for Joe Segala and Angela Taylor. And it also looks like Bobby Hayes, the fast qualifier, might have been involved as well. Let's take a look back here, Sam.
Daniel Vaught comes down into Hayes. Vaught came down into Hayes. Hayes gets spun and Segala had nowhere to go.
Looks like just a bunch of drivers there kind of vying for the same real estate. That can happen here at Kokomo for a track that has such wide corners. It's almost hard to keep track of where your car is in comparison to other cars if you move around too much in the center of the corners, because there's just a lot of real estate at Kokomo.
I found it interesting how Morton was so committed to being up high all the way, basically rim riding his way around this racetrack. Davis was still committed all the way to being down low, so 2 completely different philosophies. Unfortunately, we didn't get enough green flag running there to see which one would have paid off in the long run, but hopefully we will this time.
5 laps down, 35 to go here. Once again, it will be Morton and Davis on the front row, Hein and Wilson behind them. Back underway here at Kokomo. We restart the race, and once again in the middle of the field is becoming a hornet's nest oh so quick. Already contact, and around goes the 55, and with him I believe that is Tyler File as well. It just takes one driver to kind of float up in the center, lose the rear end, and a little bit of contact there sends Speeds to the back of the field.
Yeah,
that bright yellow car.
Big championship implications there. So Speeds kind of got caught up at the tail end of a chain reaction, and the yellow does fly for the second time tonight. Haven't had a whole lot of green flag racing yet, but now Speeds is going to have his work cut out for him. I said this was a race I think he needs to win. Well, right now he's down at 16th, and of course caution laps don't count in this series. There's no such thing as green-white checkers in bootleg, unless you happen to get a restart with 2 laps left to go. So Speeds has got to work his way up the hard way, and he might not have a whole lot of laps to do it if we keep getting yellows.
How about John Hein up 6 spots into the second position. Kenny Kibby up 5 into 7th. And it's hard to see right now with all the roofs and all the marbles pushing to the center of the corner. But both cases where the drivers lost their rear end was right where the slick stuff is. Some drivers not able to handle some of the slick spots here in the middle of the corners. Once again, ready to go green. Justin Morton on the outside. John Hein in the Crew Shop 71 now on the inside. We restart again. Morton a good jump on the outside. Davis a little sluggish, and Hein slides onto the top line.
I was a little surprised to see Hein do that, because if we've seen anyone throughout the season use the slide drop when they've been down low, it's been Hein. And in fact, Hein running the high lane may threaten his position here, because Chris Davis is down low trying to take second.
Davis, we saw, I believe earlier, he was trying to make the outside lane work, now trying to be one of the pioneers on the inside lane, trying to find a way to get door to door with John Hein on board here on the side of Davis, almost side by side now with John Hein, and you see Justin Morton not too far in the distance.
Yeah, well, Morton actually got in the wall pretty hard coming out of turn 2. I know that doesn't affect the car, but can scrub off a bit of speed. However, he's still able to get good enough runs to hold on to the lead ahead of Davis for now. But I think Davis is slowly but surely edging up along him and taking the lead.
New leader, the 07 of Chris Davis, does it on the inside lane, taking away the lead and trying to build up a gap. And one of the unique things about Kokomo, you see just how low he's running on the straightaways, but he is performing so well in that slick stuff on the bottom. Another yellow flag, though, comes out now.
Robbie Robinson, Segala, we believe, may have been involved as well, but I see Robbie Robinson was pointing backwards there in the infield.
Taking a look from above. And that might have been a little bit of netcode there, as Spees might have doored him a little bit, but it made the 56 car just bounce, and then Segala nowhere to go. Take a look on board here with Joe Segala.
Yeah, a lot of low speed contact, fortunately. Maybe that wasn't too low speed, but I think these dirt street stocks should be able to survive it. I happen to notice that despite that short run, Stephen Spees has been able to work his way up into 10th place. Obviously, I think that's the worst thing about getting caught up in an incident here. Isn't necessarily the damage to your car, but the fact that with an 18-car field, it gives you a lot of work to do.
Yeah, but a tough day for the 38-year-old out of Illinois. Joe Segala, already involved in 2 different incidents, is in not even halfway through the race yet. We will reach halfway here in 2 laps. Ready to get back underway. Chris Davis now your leader alongside Justin Morton, and Davis, of course, picking that inside lane here to the restart. Back underway. Hein on the inside behind them, and how about J.R. Shepard moving into the 4th position and heading up onto the cushion.
Davis got a nice start there, and Morton has not. He is being threatened by 2nd position already by John Hein down low. Hein trying to follow in Davis's wheel tracks and make that low line work. And so far it seems to be paying off for him, and Morton is starting to fade back.
Side by side for 2nd, Bobby Rafferty trying to take away P2 from John Hein after they both passed Justin Morton in turns 1 and 2. Rafferty moves into the 2nd position, a chance tonight to potentially take over the championship points lead, and he's taking advantage of a little bit of trouble for Stephen Spees right now.
Yeah, Speeds is still caught up in this hornet's nest back here. Kenny Kibby just made contact with Ron Snyder a little bit. Speeds, I'm sure, has been involved in a fair bit of it himself, but you can see the top 2 or 3 cars look to be having a calm Sunday drive. Everyone behind them has a lot of spatial awareness going on.
Looks like issues for Davis. He was running so well up towards the front, was your leader, and now falls behind J.R. Shepard and Justin Morton back into 5th.
We'll see if Davis can work his way back up front. He has been one of the stronger performers in the second half of the season since he joined, but now the leaders have a problem called a 1 second gap that Bobby Rafferty has built up over the rest of the field.
With that issue for Chris Davis, now making the fastest lap on the track, the mechanic and fabricator out of New York, Bobby Rafferty takes his Jim Beaver Esports machine to the lead, looking to make it 4 wins in a row and potentially take over the championship. More issues for Davis. Looks like got loose in turn number 4, and he is falling way behind now, all the way back in 7th place.
Our first laps car here, John Wilson, has had some kind of trouble. He qualified well in 4th, but now he is a lap down. He can get that back if we have a caution, but he's got to find somewhere to ride right now and not get in the way of the leaders. I think it says something about how awesome this series is that we continue. We might be about to have the same driver winning for 4 races in a row, and yet no one can say that the racing in this series is boring.
And not to mention, the championship isn't over either. Looking for its 5th win on the season, and no championship is clinched up with 2 races to go after tonight. And still Rafferty being hunted right now by John Hein as we look on board the 71 Cruise Shop machine. Hein has 2 wins of his own this year, and typically one of the monsters out in the Dirt Sprint Car Series that this series will run after the Dirt Street Stocks. Also, how about late models and the big block modifieds coming up on the schedule for Bootleg Racing League? They just started running Dirt Street Stocks for the first time consistently just about a year ago.
Rafferty had a bad lap a few laps ago, and it brought John Hein right up to his rear bumper, but now Rafferty's been able to open that gap up a little bit again, and in fact Hein's in the wall there. So we've got a good battle going on for 3rd place between Morton and Shepard. Both drivers, as we mentioned, have had good seasons, but no wins so far. And right now, it might be tough for them to get one because Rafferty is really starting to pull out a lead on Hein again.
Already down to 7 laps to go, even with those early cautions, but the laps go by quick here at Kokomo. Shepard trying to get onto the podium. Wouldn't be his first time this weekend, I'm sure, with the slate of racing that we have tomorrow night, including here on GSRC with the Grand National Series. But last season's winner trying to hop onto the podium, but no one contesting the 7 machine of Bobby Rafferty, trying to make it 4 wins in a row, coming to 5 to go this time by. Taking a look at J.R. Shepard trying to get to the inside of Morton, and another yellow flag comes out right in front of the lead pack as well. Looks like Hayes is in this one. Your fast qualifier tonight, just a lot of issues, and there are no green-white checkers here in Bootleg, so we will have to see if we will go back green, as there was 5 laps to go that time.
Yeah, all of the cars, a few cars, they were all running towards the tail end of the field. They kind of got wadded up there, and a lot of them go a lap down due to the fact that, you know, Rafferty was kind of right behind all that going on.
That's a little bit close. That's one where you hold your breath. That's the leader there, as Bobby Rafferty rolls around the outside. Would not be Rafferty's first win as the leader under caution. But are the lights out on the pace truck? We might just go green for a 1-lap shootout here. There is no green-white checkered in Bootleg Racing League, so Rafferty might have to hold on for this win.
They would have to go off right now. I think they're off. The field is going double file. We are going to have a 1-lap shootout.
A 1-lap shootout in the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Series at Kokomo. Rafferty is led. Oh, they might have called it off. All right, so the lights are on, so this will take them to the white flag. Everyone doubled up, and it might have been called off, and so that will be it. a slow victory lap here for Bobby Rafferty as they will come to the checkered flag. Got some victory bumps from behind with John Hein and the crew shot machine. But Bobby Rafferty, the Jim Beaver Esports driver, hunting for a championship in the Dirt Street Stock Series, win number 5 on the year and makes it 4 in a row now. Bobby Rafferty takes the win here at Kokomo. John Hein will be scored in second, Justin Morton third, J.R. Shepard in fourth, and Ron Snyder will round out your top 5. Really good finishes for all of those drivers.
Yeah, and we didn't even get to Steven Spees. He's all the way down there in 7th. That's a huge chunk of points going in Rafferty's favor.
Well, it's been about a great month for Rafferty when it comes to his streak here in the Bootleg Racing League or Street Stock Series, and not to mention a couple of really big wins in the Grand National Series as well here on GSRC. Well, the 2 lead sponsors for the Bootleg Racing League will try to burn it down as Jim Beaver Esports and the Cruise Shop celebrate another 1-2 victory. Rafferty and Hein, your top 2 at Kokomo. We'll take a break, take you through your whole rundown. We'll talk to our podium here tonight at Kokomo. Make it 4 wins in a row. A little bit of misfortune for Chris Davis gives Bobby Rafferty the victory tonight at Kokomo in the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Series, making it 4 wins in a row for the Jim Beaver Esports driver. Rafferty taking the win. John Hein and the Crew Shop Machine finishes in second. Justin Morton in third. J.R. Shepard just shy of that podium position. Ron Snyder rounding out your top 5. Tyler File will bring it home in 6th. Steven Spees in 7th. Chris Davis has to settle for 8th. Kenny Kibby in 9th. And Todd Liston rounds out your top 10.
Finishing in 11th position was Robbie Robinson. Spencer Gray and Cody Castleman round out the cars that were left on the lead lap. A few drivers unfortunately dropped a lap down with that incident at the end, including John Wilson, Daniel Vaught, Bobby Hayes and Angela Taylor drove Segala multiple laps down after being involved in a couple of incidents.
Well, we will bring in our winner, make it a month straight now for Bobby Rafferty winning here in the Dirt Street Stock Series. But first of all, what was your heart rate at when you go by that crash going down the back straightaway that would eventually end the race?
In my throat, just like when Chris ended up hitting the U tire in the middle of 3 and 4. I feel so bad for him. That was his race. I might have had half a tenth on him on the bottom, but I don't think there was any way anybody was going to beat Chris tonight. He was in a league of his own. Hats off to him. Like I said, I feel horrible for him that happened. That was his race.
Yeah, unfortunately for Chris, having to settle for 8th place tonight, but another victory for you, Bobby, and also tonight's GSRC Hard Charger coming up from 9th place on the grid. When it comes to Kokomo, you got the wall, you got the tractor tires on the inside. How do you decide where to go once that race starts?
I mean, if you guys, obviously you guys saw my qualifying effort, if you could call it that. Definitely not a place that I really have figured out in the tack, but Only way I was able to figure out the bottom like that was, looking at Chris and seeing how much ground he was making up. And I said, okay, so the bottom's where I need to go between him and JR passing me on the bottom. And as the race went on, once I got the lead, I felt it start going away, and I said, all right, let me try to jump up to the top and see if it was there. And it was 100 times better. It's really a guessing game at Kokomo. I'm just glad it was multi-groove for, as long as it was, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't have even been on the podium. I cannot believe I just went from 9th to 1st at Kokomo with the level of drivers we have. I'm beyond stoked about that.
Well, another victory here tonight, 4 in a row. You've given that fresh sponsor on the hood a little bit of good exposure here. Who do you have to thank for another victory here in the Dirt Street Stock Series?
Of course, first I've gotta thank Vision Wheel and GSPX TV Axles for main sponsor in the car, but I've also, of course, got to give a huge shout out to the Cruise Shop, GSRC, for you guys for broadcasting them, and my team. I've got to give a huge shout out to Jim Beaver Esports for not only sponsoring the heat races, but just being such an awesome team to stand behind me, and all of our partners, General Tire, Polaris Razor, Vision Wheel, Rigid Industries, LED Lighting, Dirtfish, GSPX TV Axles, Gibson Performance Exhaust, Acronis, Sans Racing Fab, 07 Designs, and the Motorsports Drop as well. I also just want to give a quick shout out to my wife, my mom, my kids, everybody that puts up with me being headfirst into this sim, as much as I am, considering I can't do it in real life anymore. This is my my little outlet here to get the frustrations and tensions of the week out like I used to do with the real race cars. So just, thanks for everybody for the support.
Well, congrats on this past month now. I hope you're not still pinching yourself because you're probably in a lot of pain, but at the very least, we'll see you tomorrow night here on GSRC at Thompson when the Grand National Series hits the track.
Yeah, I'm saying my prayers on that one because, like I told you guys, it's not exactly one of my favorite places to go, but we'll see where we end up with that one. I think JR's pretty much got that championship secured, but it would be pretty cool to end up, top 3 in the pavement stuff and hopefully bring home the street stock and the dirt sprint car championship.
Well, congrats, Bobby, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you again, Devin. I will catch you guys later.
That's Bobby Rafferty. Another win, now 5 on the season, but still not quite in the points lead, not counting drop weeks. Now we'll head on over. Sam's caught up with our second place finisher, John Hein.
Yeah, John Hein, you've been in 7 races this season. You've taken 2 wins, got 2 seconds, and finished in the top 5 each time. And yet Bobby Rafferty is here picking off a win each week. I've got to imagine that's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, a little bit. I actually have a spring in my my pedals that broke about 3 weeks ago. So once I get that squared away, hopefully I can get up there and at least make him earn it a little bit.
You were making him earn it. I mean, you ran him down there with about 10 laps to go. You were right on his bumper, and then he pulled away again.
Yeah, that's where the spring in the throttle pedal comes in, because you've got to manage your throttle a little bit once it slicks up like that. And until I get that situated, which it'll be fixed by next week, then that's where, though, it really, really is hard to use.
We heard Rafferty say it was a little bit of a guessing game as to which lane you wanted to be in at what time during the race. Were you having a similar experience out there, or what was your approach to tonight's race?
Yeah, I saw those guys on the bottom. The bottom was definitely there the first couple of laps. Justin was, I was a little quicker than him, and I saw Bobby closing up, and I saw the 07 get the lead, and I went down there, and I just couldn't get it to work down there. So I went back up top, and that's when I started rolling. So I think what really helps with choosing a lane like that, I don't know if it's necessarily the track being suited for, that's where you need to run, as much as it fits into a driver's style of racing. Guys that can back the corner up can run that bottom where they can drive out. When you're on the top, you can kind of charge the corner a little bit more. So I think that has more to do with it when you're looking at the different lanes and the different experiences. That's really, in all honesty, I think what it all comes down to.
Well, it was still a solid finish for you tonight in second place. And of course, we do have drop weeks in this championship, and who knows what can happen at the last 2 rounds. Anyone you'd like to thank, or anything else you'd like to say before we let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. First, I'd like to thank Brenna from the cruise shop. Everybody, I've said it 100 times. Just go check out what she's got out there. Go to cruiseshopfw.com. You can always plan ahead. You can, with cruises and stuff, you can even plan a couple years ahead and pay things off. So it is slowly over time, which is really nice, and you don't have to come with a big chunk of money all at one shot. And then also Jim Beaver, esports, for coming on board. Go check them out on Facebook. They've got a lot of cool stuff. If you like a motorsport, that's a place for you to go. They've got their hands in so many different cookie jars. A lot of really, really cool stuff over there. And last and most importantly, though, I'd like to thank my wife. She's just fantastic, letting me come and do this as much as I do it. And I can't express how much I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming to talk to us tonight, John. Thanks for putting on the great show, and we wish you the best of luck next week.
Yes, best to you guys, and thank everybody for tuning in there. You guys have a good week.
That was John Hein, your second place finisher. One more drive on the podium, and Devon has caught up with him.
Justin Morton brings it home in third, still third place in the points as well, not counting our drop weeks quite yet. But Justin, I know not quite what you wanted starting on the pole tonight, but what about this track change that just made it difficult to get back around and back up front?
Yeah, my biggest thing was I didn't expect the bottom to be working that good. Chris did an awesome job down there, along with Bobby and John. They worked around me, and eventually by the time the top came back in, I couldn't get back up to them in time.
Still running really well here as of late, trying to be on that podium and fight for a championship. Moving on to Volusia next week, which is 2 races to go. Where do you see maybe need to make a couple changes and try to get back up on the top step of the podium?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just learning experience. I don't have near the experience that Bobby and John have, so I'm definitely trying to learn a lot from them. Joining the practice sessions with them before our race sessions, that's been helping me a lot. Yeah, just trying to learn from them, try to, I don't know, just get better.
Well, another podium here tonight. Who do you have to thank for another good performance?
I'd like to thank my team, Total Downforce Racing, Black Box, Jim Beaver Esports for picking us up, sponsor us this season, Cruise Shop, Lowell for running the league. He does a great job, and thank you guys for broadcasting.
Well, we hope to see you tomorrow night as well in the Grand National Series at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. Congrats, Justin.
Thank you.
That's Justin Morton, your third place finisher here tonight at Kokomo. Well, Sam, we saw some action in the heat races, some action in the Consi, and then pretty good amount of action there in tonight's A-Main at Kokomo.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's unfortunate that it ended under yellow, but I don't know if there was a lot the field could have done about Rafferty. Shame to see Chris Davis come up short, and also, Justin Morton, he led a bit of a race early on, but just faded back in the second half of the event. But we still have a lot of talent up front here, and Bobby Rafferty's been winning them all, but we're still seeing some great shows, and all winning streaks must come to an end. Rafferty, I'm not saying that will happen this season. I think it'll be great to see him get up there and fight Spees for the championship. But what I am trying to say is there's a lot of great talent out there, and I still think anyone could win the next 2 races.
Just 2 to go until we crown the champion for Season 4 of the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Series. Congrats to our winner, and also tonight's GSRC Hard Charger tonight, Bobby Rafferty, moving from 9th to 1st. And a big thank you to the sponsors that make this broadcast possible, including the Cruise Shop. And I know it's a weird time right now, but we can always plan ahead, take a look ahead, and just get a consultation, see what you might like to do. Go ahead and check out the Cruise Shop for all of those needs. And of course, Jim Beaver Esports, although I think sometimes they get plenty enough exposure just being on that 7 machine car with a few wins here and there throughout the season. But a big thank you to them. And of course, a thank you to our organizer, Lowell Jewell, and everyone at the Bootleg Racing League. And if you're interested with advertising with GSRC, our channel's 1 million monthly global impressions are a great way to get your branding seen by a diverse audience. Be sure to follow the link in the description to learn more, or go to globalsimracingchannel.com/advertising. And thank you to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts listed right here on your screen. And an additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for more to get a hold of her for more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Sam Ryman and producer Sean Ambrose. If you would like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. And if you would like to support the channel, go check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. The link is in the description below. And don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page. Go hit that big red subscribe button so you never miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Our next race for the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Series is next Friday night, August 28th at Fallujah Speedway Park. And be sure to check out the BRL Grand National Series right here tomorrow night on GSRC as they battle at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. We also have plenty more upcoming races for other series listed right here on your screen, so be sure to check those out and mark them down on your calendar. That looks like a little bit of fun to you. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you at the track.